All right. So you started playing in what did you say professionally at Ghosts?
AW.
AW.
Yeah.
Advanced Warfare. That's the one we won the championship on. That ring that you see right there. What team were you playing for then?
I played on Justice. It was me, Kenny, Assault, and Spacely before really anyone knew the three of us besides Space.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like, well, the last event of the year finals, we got 5th, 6th at. I think that's most notable for where people like know us from there.
Yeah.
But we got shit on by you guys.
What's the most money you've ever won in a tournament?
Last year, getting second at Miami. I would think it was like $60K for first or second.
So, coming out of high school, right? You forego college, you're winning, and you're making like a lot of money. Like, how does that impact like your mentality? What do you do with your cheddar? Do you spend it?
I've saved most of my money. I'm not too big on like buying like expensive stuff or expensive clothes. I mean, I've splurged
Just
a bit.
shoes?
Yeah, I've splurged a bit on shoes recently and like a laptop, but otherwise I haven't been spending much. I'm trying to like save it, invest. Me and my dad are looking at ways to invest in like stocks, property, stuff like that.
Yeah. Properties is my suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to these events, you're playing, and you're super young, right? Like obviously, like you just turned 20, so you started playing right when it was legal for you to start playing. How did you? And the reason I'm asking is because there's a ton of people out there that want to go pro and just don't know the path to become a pro.
Yeah.
You say you played a lot of wagers. You said you played. How do you get on a team though, right? Because how did you get to play against other people or with other people? Like, how did you get to play with Spacely? How did you get to play with whoever these people were? You know, like how did you get to that point?
Like, I mean, some of it is luck of draw. Like when I got the team with Space, it was because Study left their team 2 days before the event, and I got like they asked to pick up my teammate, but instead my teammate was like, "You need a sub player. You should take Dylan instead." And like I went and played. And
who was that? Who was your teammate?
My teammate was Cells. He's still like an open bracket player now.
Yeah.
But he like
what a dude.
Yeah. That's what jump started everything.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my day one. So.
Dude, that's crazy. And nobody else would have done that.
No.
Nobody else
no
would
one
have been
else.
like, I would have been like, yeah, I'll do it. Fuck that. Yeah, it's me 100%. I could play sub.
It was it's like crazy looking back at that and saying like that's what started it all. You know?
You still keep in touch with him?
Yeah.
What's his name? Cells?
Cells, yeah. Dylan Cells. My first team in AW had a team of all 4 Dylans. All our names were Dylan.
Really?
Yeah.
Like your names were Dylan.
Yeah,
like
it was so confusing.
Real Dylan. Yeah. Yeah. And then
we played like our first day of playing was to like qualify for season 3 relegation, and we didn't know all of our names were Dylan, so we kept calling out like me and Cells kept calling out Dylan, and then all of a sudden everyone else is turning 360 and we're like, we got to call each other by our gamer tags. Like this isn't gonna work. But no, like you just kind of got to work your way up, you know, like you have to find ways to improve on like your own level and like a team level, you know, like what's going to help the team and like what are you struggling that you got to improve on. Like something that like helps me at the beginning of every game is I play a lot of search and destroy because it helps me get my timings down, learn the game quicker, you know, and search is such a methodical game mode, especially in MW. So it definitely that definitely helps with like your routes and getting to know the maps like right off the break of the game. And then after that, it's just all on like, I feel like yourself of like learning and like pushing yourself to get better and knowing what you got to do. Like,
yeah, but you know that it's easy to say now that you're where you're at, right? But like, how do I? Let's say I'm above average. I'm better than every single one of my team, and when I'm playing pubs, I'm at the top of the leaderboard every single time.
Yeah.
How will someone give me a chance to do that? Do I go out and look at for other people, like, because it can't be me and my scrub friends Hutch and Diesel.
Yeah.
Well, Diesel's good. Hutch is also good. Anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, there's no real true way for anybody to get discovered anymore. Everybody's got their pack, their crew of people. You know, like you can't join at the time. You couldn't join Optics just because you were fucking good.
Yeah.
Right? We had players. Like that's not how it works. Like to get on a big org. Or to get on that, like there has to be some way. How do people get scouted? How do people get going on Twitter and say, "Yo, check me out"? Everybody, bro, if I get hit up like 9,000 times a day about that.
Exactly.
I mean, not anymore, but you know
the biggest thing nowadays, I think, is S&D. Like obviously, we've seen like Illy came up this year, and he's been like an S&D kid for 3-4 years now, I think. And I'm trying to think. There's some other people. I mean, I came from S&D. You got like Blast, Full Decimate. Like those guys all came from S&D. So S&D definitely was like one of the bigger things back in the day, but we both know like it's not what it used to be, you know. The prizes and just people in the tournaments, it's not the same.
So it's like, again, and this is something that somebody needs to figure out, right? And it ain't gonna be me. I have too much shit on my plate, but somebody needs to figure this out, because having the ability to be discovered in a world where there's thousands of people just like you, and what's gonna set you apart is super, super important, right? Because if you go out and you have a group of people, and the sayings like don't turn your friends into teammates, turn your teammates into friends, that whole thing, like that's super, super important. But at the same time, it's like, who else the fuck are you supposed to play with? You know what I mean? How do you tell somebody there's yo, pick me up or try me out or like that? Like it's super, super weird as to how you do that.
Yeah, it's not like there's not like an official way or like anything. Like I don't know. It will develop over time. Yeah, that's for sure. But right now there's nothing.
Though, right? Like there's really no true way to do that. Yeah. Because like, and I'll sit here and talk for hours on it in circles too. There is literally no way for somebody to be like, hey, you know, play and the whole high school league shit. Like it's done so wrong. It doesn't make sense. Even collegiate esports, right? Like there's so much room to grow in those things, and like now that they're starting to be developed, like you know, it's good. But even like in this very moment in time, it doesn't make sense, right? Because if you're 20, just turned 20, you should be a sophomore in college.
College, yeah.
Yeah, you're a sophomore in college. You play Call of Duty at a professional level. You're not gonna put yourself to play for the Northwestern University, right? For nothing.
Yeah.
No, and for not even a big stage or a big, you know, audience. Right?
Yeah, maybe for a scholarship or whatever.
Yeah.
But even then, like you don't want to like mess with your school, or if you got sports going on, it's so hard to manage all that stuff. I think.
Yeah. So again, it's that one thing. You know, back in the day, we would recruit people into Optic by seeing who was shitting on us. Right, and then we would bring them into private lobbies where we would all be playing, and then if they kept, you know, if that was an anomaly or that wasn't one of those times where it was good, you don't have a booger. Nice. It just itched.
Yeah, it just itched.
Anyway, anytime you're doing that, the camera points at me and it goes away from you, so you're good.
I figured.
Yeah. So you know, like that's how we used to do it in the past. Like that's how we did it. Now there's so many goddamn people playing this game.
Yeah.
And there's so many teenagers out there, right? That could be, in essence, better than pro players right now, but they're not going to be able to compete for another 2 years. Like, even as an AM, you still don't have that ability. Like, a parent signature required? Like, how does that work?
And, like, it's not like back in the... You can't play, like, as a kid either, you know? Like, you have to start basically end of high school or, like, in college when you can even start Variant, you know? Like, I started Variant when I was 14. You can't even do that anymore, you know? Simp... I think I remember playing Simp in like AW, and then like the age limit turned, and he's like 13 or something. Like that guy couldn't play for 5 years.
Yeah,
he's just sitting around like, well, like you can't even like figure out what you want to do until after high school or starting college.
So what do you do, right? Because if you can't compete for money because you're 13 years old, even if you submit a letter from your parents, you still can't compete for money because you're still underage, and it's. As much as it's a game of skill, people in the law doesn't necessarily interpret it that way. So does your dad sign up for you and he collects all your cheese and he's just this, you know, 35-year-old phenom?
Yeah. He's just winning everything under your name.
Under your name, and then what? He gets picked up, and then, you know, we're expecting this 35-year-old dude with a family. He's like, no, it's like,
it's just this little guy.
It's still in my son. Then what do? You're fucked, right? Like for 5 years. So I think that there's got to be a lot. That needs to be sort of developed from a Call of Duty perspective. One of the things is obviously the blood mode needs to be removed. Like the fact that in Ghosts we had paintball mode, right, where it was green ooze instead of blood.
Same thing with AW.
In AW, same thing, right? It was robot oil or whatever. Like that sort of thing needs to happen again and again and again. And you know, blood and gore doesn't do shit for me. You know what I mean?
It really doesn't change anything if you take it away.
Like if you go back to Black Ops 1, incredible artwork, right? Like you could see people's limbs, or Black Ops. Black Ops, right? It was a World at War. Where you could see limbs coming off.
It might have been World at War.
Yeah, in World at War, like you got hit with an airstrike, and then you would see your soldiers just like fucking lose a leg, and it's up in the air. Like that doesn't do shit for me anymore. You know what I mean? Like the reality of everything is the fact that we've seen it all on TV. We've seen it all. It's the age of the internet. That's no longer like an impressive, like, oh my God, it's the dopest shit. Like you see, it's not Mortal Kombat in the 90s where
or like blood flying on your screen, like like
the jelly, like all that shit. Like nobody needs that. Like
especially like a lot of like futuristic CODs now, just throwing paintball effects.
Yeah,
you know, like
paintball effect, lasers, like anything.
Yeah,
and to me, that's the sort of thing. That's step one to sort of continue to help the up and coming amateurs sort of. You know, if you're farming talent at an early age like 13, that's the thing that you need to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
I agree.
From a competitive standpoint, you want to be able to develop these players, and you want to be able to sort of give them the path to see if you're going to end up with an excellent player.
Mm-hmm.
And we do ourselves as a Call of Duty community, we do ourselves as an esports community a disservice in not sort of nurturing that talent and see what it can become.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect anything. Like it won't affect viewership if it's people aren't gonna say, well, I'm not buying it because they remove blood from this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Call of Duty's Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty. Look at Halo. Look at Counter-Strike. You don't see any, like, how much blood do you truly see on there? It's like none,
not much. Yeah.
So it's not something that I think, and I know from Activision's perspective, it makes it almost difficult for them to be like, well, we have a $1 billion a year industry. Like, why would we tweak anything? And,
exactly.
And just let's keep on fucking games up for the rest of the time and do that.
Keep making their cash.
Yeah, keep making cash. So